Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, it's never enough? Even though you tried your hardest, you studied for hours, worked late, pushed yourself to the edge, and still failed? Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, or the dream of yours just kept slipping away. You try and you try and you try, and it never works out the way it should. After a while, you stop trying. You stop giving it your all because what's the point? Leon Kennedy's first day on the job was a massacre. He lacked proper training, he barely had any backup, and his chances of succeeding were minimal. Everything he tried to control fell apart. People he tried to save died anyway. Leon felt powerless, and to fight the sensation of helplessness, he became obsessed with control. He trains harder, obeys orders, and possibly buries emotions under professionalism. Does he truly heal, or does he just get better at surviving? Over time, Leon stops expecting peace. Every mission, every outbreak, every death reinforces the same message. It's never over. The mission is never over. And he keeps going. But at what cost? Hi, my name is Matt Smilix. I'm a psychologist and criminologist, and today we're taking a closer look into the psychology of Leon Kennedy. I do have to say there is a trigger warning for mention of alcohol abuse and taking your own life. Leon S. Kennedy has seen and been through a lot, and it all started with a traumatic childhood. His family was involved in crime, which led to their demise and Leon being orphaned. He was saved by a police officer, which inspired him to become a cop as well. In the games, Leon's story starts in Resident Evil 2, where he is a rookie cop. He had just broken up with his girlfriend and drank the night away at his motel. Hungover, he woke up on September 29 for his first day of work in the doomed Raccoon City. He was already late and arrived when the G-virus infected people, or zombies, had already taken over the police department. During this game, he meets Claire Redfield, Sherry Birkin, and Ada Wong. Claire was there to search for her brother Chris Redfield. Sherry Birkin is the daughter of the antagonist, and Ada Wong claimed to work for the FBI. Leon is a helpful guy, and he put aside his feelings of anxiety and stress to help everyone else survive. Even Ada, who kinda betrayed him, although he caught a bullet for her. Following their escape from Raccoon City on the morning of September 30, Claire and Leon split up. Claire continued her search for her brother Chris, while Leon cared for Sherry. Both of them were captured by the government because they knew too much about the G-virus incident. Leon was given an ultimatum. He would be recruited into a classified anti-umbrella military agency in exchange for Sherry's safety and his own free life. He agreed, making it so he would directly report to the president. His subsequent training transformed him from a rookie police officer into an expert special agent. One crucial detail I forgot to mention was that the US government decided to bomb Raccoon City to prevent the virus from spreading everywhere else. In 2004, the president's daughter, Ashley Graham, was kidnapped and taken to a remote village in Spain. Due to a possible mole in the government agencies, Leon was sent to investigate by himself. It quickly became clear the villagers were followers of a cult known as Los Iluminados. They were implanted with a parasite known as Las Plagas to ensure absolute obedience. Their prophet, Sadler, instructed the villagers to take out any intruders. Leon was captured and implanted with such a plaga. Once he found Ashley, Sadler revealed he had also implanted her with the parasite, with the idea of sending them back to the US as sleeper agents to extend his influence. Leon couldn't just escape since the helicopter he would use was shot down, probably by the mole. Later that night, Ashley was once again abducted, and Leon came across Ada Wong, who had been working for Albert Wesker from the Umbrella Corporation. Ada was there to retrieve a sample of the Plaga parasite. In short, Leon managed to save Ashley once again. They found equipment to kill the parasite inside of them and they escaped back to the US. Sadler was eliminated by a rocket launcher thanks to Ada Wong. The world wasn't safe from Umbrella's viruses because a year later, the Harvardville airport was attacked with another bioweapon of the T virus. There were only 5 survivors, one of them was Claire Redfield. Leon was sent there by the president to investigate since he had experience with the T virus. Leon suspected a man named Dr. Curtis Miller who was very much against T vaccines. A second outbreak occurred after a laboratory exploded. Dr. Miller was there and he infected himself with the G virus to attack Leon. He passed away by falling down a shaft into another explosion. 2 years later, the White House was put on alert after an unidentified individual hacked into computer files. Leon and 3 other agents were selected to run the investigation into all the staff that was present during the hacking. When Leon arrived, the power went out and it became clear the mole was still present at the White House. Mysteriously, the White House press secretary became a zombie, and it turns out a virus was spreading rapidly across the staff members. After the zombies were eliminated, the president decided it was best to cover up this incident. They found out the stolen files were of a bio-research facility in Shanghai. Leon and 2 other agents, Jason and Shen Mei, were instructed to infiltrate the facility. Turns out Shen Mei and Jason were traitors and Shen Mei tried to take out Leon. They tried to take revenge on the government for the biohazard in Panamstan, leading to a civil war in which Jason fought. Jason was planning on revenge, which made him dangerous. Leon returned to the US with the intent to capture Jason. The president was holding a press conference at an Air Force base. Jason was there and he neglected to take his inhibitor medication, turning him into a humanoid mutant. Since there was a big biohazard, tanks of acid began being dumped one by one. Leon managed to send acid towards them which hurt and dissolved Jason. Claire was there as well as she was investigating this case on her own. She wanted to expose the government's conspiracy, but Leon refused because it would cause a lot of panic. Leon promised to himself he would stop it. In the meantime, Albert Wesker grew his criminal empire and eventually died. This led to Leon and Chris Redfield finally meeting. In 2011, there was a new president who disbanded the anti-umbrella pursuit, and so Leon was transferred to the Division of Security Operations. With this team, he was sent to the Eastern Slav Republic because there was a rumor that they were using bioweapons in the war. Not long after arriving, the team got note to abort the mission, but Leon decided to stay until he found confirmation and proof. Therefore, he decided to continue without the support of the US government. Turns out the city was infected with the Plaga. Leon met some allies there such as Buddy, who also became infected. Leon did what he could to save the city, including injuring his new friend. In 2013, the president wanted to be honest about what happened in Raccoon City, but he got infected with a new virus named the chrysalid virus. The president was then killed by Leon when he tried to take out a Secret Service agent, Helena Harper. Helena led him to a bioweapons research facility of Derek Simmons. Harper revealed Simmons threatened her to assassinate the president and worked in this research facility where they tried to beat rival countries such as China in bioweapons. Eventually, Simmons bombed another city to wipe away evidence of his organization. The attack was claimed by an organization called Neo Umbrella and they planned a new one in China. So Leon and Harper traveled to China, but on the flight, the C virus broke out and the plane crashed near Sherry Birkin and Jake Muller, who is the son of Albert Wesker. Sherry revealed she was in protective detail and reported to Simmons, who blamed Leon for the death of the president. As usual, the villain Simmons takes the C virus to become a mutated zombie, and he gets defeated by Leon and Harper because Ada Wong left them a rocket launcher. In 2014, another tragedy bestowed upon Leon Kennedy. Leon and his squad were sent to Maryland to extract information from the senator, Stephen Ayer, who had been giving information to Simmons' old organization, The Family. What they didn't know was that there were explosives which detonated when the team approached. Leon was the only survivor. When Leon visited the morgue later on, one of the bodies had been infected and turned into a zombie, forcing Leon to take out one of his friends and colleagues. To cope, Leon isolated himself and used alcohol to try and forget all he had been through. He started to doubt if this job is what he wanted to do. During this retreat, Leon was approached by Chris Redfield and Rebecca Chambers to consult him on recent bioweapon attacks using the Plaga sample from Los Iluminados. Leon was reluctant to help them and questioned when all of this would end. He decided to help them out when Rebecca got kidnapped. As you probably guessed, there were lots of zombies and Leon and Chris fought their way through all of them and they lived to see another day. A last incident Leon was asked to help in was the Alcatraz outbreak in 2015. Leon was tasked with rescuing robotics engineer Dr. Taylor, who leaked military secrets. While investigating Alcatraz, the possible location of Dr. Taylor, Leon met Jill Valentine, who was conducting her own research. They found blueprints of mosquito drones which had been affecting people in the prison and city. Sometime later, they also found Dr. Taylor, Claire, and Chris Redfield, who had been infected and locked up in the prison. Eventually, one of the drones got to Leon and infected him. The mastermind behind these drones was a former USS operator named Dylan. His motive was to punish organizations and agencies that were benefiting from bioterrorism. Of course, everyone but Dr. Taylor was saved by Rebecca Chambers. Dr. Taylor was fatally shot by Dylan, and Dylan mutated himself. In true Resident Evil fashion, the monster was blown up. This was a whole lot and I didn't even go into detail of each incident. For example, Leon met people like Jack Krauser and Louis Serra who either betrayed him or died. So you can imagine Leon has seen a lot of gross and difficult things, which inevitably leaves an impression. Leon has a strong sense of justice. His reason to become a police officer was to help others and prevent others from having a difficult childhood like him. When we first meet him in Resident Evil 2, he does come across as insecure. He has to hype himself up to be confident enough while traversing the police station. These insecure feelings seem to decrease later on in the games when he gains more experience. Leon knows what he wants and what his goals are. This includes his sense of doing what is right. He is very aware that what he does is for the greater good. This includes taking out zombies he knew personally and bringing the president of the Eastern Slav Republic to justice for the use of bioweapons. Another trait of Leon Kennedy is that he has a very friendly nature. It seems quite easy for him to make friends and trust people. He's able to strike a bond with Claire Redfield and Sherry Birkin just moments after meeting them. Even in later games, it was easy for him to find friendship in Louis Serra and other allies. Even if they had just met, he would feel saddened by their death. Although he is friendly by nature, Leon's sense of justice does come up when he meets people who he sees as villains. He despises people who use bioweapons. Leon also isn't shy of flirting with the ladies, such as his colleague Hunnigan and his friend or frenemy Ada Wong. In summary, Leon is capable of caring very deeply for the people he meets. He is willing to sacrifice his own safety in order to help or rescue others. When he isn't able to help others, he feels deep regret. For example, in Resident Evil 4, Leon is escorted to the village by two cops. When he sees one of them as a burnt corpse, he said, "If only he had come with me," demonstrating remorse over leaving the officers behind. A similar scenario happens in Resident Evil 2 Remake when Marvin turns into a zombie. Leon feels regret over not being there sooner to help. Despite growing emotionally attached to the people he meets during his missions, he is also able to be composed and focused during said missions. He can come across quite stern when giving orders, but he knows it's for the greater good and to keep everyone else focused as well. Despite the grave dangers he encounters, Leon is able to stay fairly calm and make jokes. The original Resident Evil 4 takes the prize of Leon's amazing one-liners.
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
I think it's one of the ways Leon copes with everything. Humor is a good and healthy coping mechanism, and in such situations, also needed to stay somewhat sane. Although Leon is able to keep up appearance and act a bit goofy, it could also be a way of masking his real pain. Deep down, Leon struggled with depression, alcohol abuse, and even suicidal thoughts. This becomes more clear in the original games rather than the remakes. In the original Resident Evil 2, Leon is late for his first day because his girlfriend broke up with him and he locked himself up in a motel to get drunk. In the remake, he just got a phone call telling him to stay away. It does mean alcohol was already a way for him to cope with difficult situations even before all the zombie experiences. It's not unheard of that a guy who is able to feel and show his emotions would use alcohol to suppress them. Alcohol can slow down your central nervous system, which can give the illusion of feeling relaxed. It can also affect memory, so it can pretty easily become a way to distance oneself from stressful situations and challenges. Leon doesn't just use alcohol to try and forget what happened, but he also avoids talking about it. In Resident Evil 6, you can find a file that states Leon avoided talking about the events of Raccoon City. He felt regret and guilt about not being able to save everybody, so he distanced himself from the subject. No one was able to ask any questions about it, besides the government official Adam Benford, who later became president. The same file reveals a lot more about Leon's feelings about what happened. He said, "I was just glad to have gotten out of there alive. It was all I could think about. Sure, my anger towards Umbrella helped me get through it, but it was only after I got out that I really started thinking about what I could do. It was hard for Claire and I to hold on to any kind of hope in a situation like that. I mean, come on, I was just a rookie cop and she was a 19-year-old college student. To tell you the truth, I even thought about ending it, several times actually, with just a quick bullet to the head. But I didn't give up. Sherry needed me. She was a 10-year-old girl thrown into a hellish environment with monsters after her, so I had to pull myself together for her sake. She was our reason for not giving up, especially for Claire." One possible reason for Leon's depressive feelings could be because of learned helplessness. In life, there are quite a few things we can't control. However, we can also find ourselves in situations where we can't do anything at all. Such uncontrollable events can lead to passivity and depression. This effect was first found by behavioral psychologist Martin Seligman in 1972. Martin tested this on dogs. One group of dogs were put in an escapable cage and they were given electric shocks. The dogs would start running and howling until they were able to escape. A second group of dogs were put in an inescapable hammock when given the electric shocks. They reacted the same but were unable to leave. Once they were put in a cage they could escape, they didn't. They learned that the pain was inevitable and all they could do was wait until it was over. They later found the same effect in other animals as well, such as cats, rats, fish, mice, and eventually humans. Research on learned helplessness revealed that people experience more stress when confronted with uncontrollable trauma compared to situations where they do have some sort of control. There is a link between learned helplessness and depression since they are quite similar. When people are depressed, they are going to become more passive. They have a reduced response initiation and think more negatively. It's harder for them to believe in themselves and that things will work out. Feelings of hopelessness and helplessness can be seen as the essence of depression. Leon felt helpless and hopeless during the events of Raccoon City. He was put in a situation he had no control over on his first day on the job. That's already a stressful day, and the world collapsing around him probably didn't help. He wasn't trained for the scenario he was put in, and despite his best efforts, he wasn't able to save everyone. That led to guilt and shame he carried with him over the course of the games and movies. This failure to save everyone may also plant seeds of helplessness. It can give the impression that your best efforts weren't good enough. Leon was also fairly insecure at the time. It can seem like an impossible task to take out a giant organization with just you and the college student. By Resident Evil 4, Leon shows more self-confidence. As I mentioned before, he is hyper-competent and funny. This could be a mask to avoid his true emotions, which is a coping mechanism for trauma. Also, at this point, he is an agent for the government. He follows orders rather than doing what he wants or believes in. This can be seen as a shift from agency to obedience. Sometimes it's easier to be told what to do. Professionalism can hide internalized helplessness. Although Leon's strong sense of justice does absolutely take over, and his orders are usually vague, Leon is definitely a competent man who makes choices and deals with stress by himself without higher-ups telling him what to do. By Resident Evil 6, Leon does show more fatigue and cynicism. He starts questioning how much longer this is all going to take and what the point is to keep going. In his life and experience, suffering is inevitable. By that time, he had been through countless situations and seen multiple variants of viruses. There is always a recurring pattern of, no matter what I do, tragedy follows. Now, I wouldn't exactly say that Leon is a perfect example of learned helplessness. Despite all the trauma and hopelessness, his perseverance and sense of right and wrong made it so that he kept going. Leon decided to do what is right and best for the world, and it's his morality that motivated him to keep on going. He never turned passive. He always kept going and doing his best to save as many people as he could. It could be seen as some sort of functional learned helplessness where he is and acts heroically, but internally feels that it will never truly change anything. The central aspect of learned helplessness is to have gone through multiple traumatic experiences where you had no control. This makes me believe that Leon could also suffer from complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD, is a bit different from regular PTSD. Usually, people who have PTSD have experienced a single or acute traumatic event, while people with CPTSD experience prolonged or repeated trauma where they felt trapped or powerless. That's exactly what Leon went through. The symptoms of PTSD are intrusive symptoms resembling the traumatic events such as memories, dreams, and flashbacks, avoiding stimuli associated with the traumatic events such as memories, thoughts, places, people, activities, and so on, negative changes in thoughts and mood associated with the traumatic events such as negative thoughts or expectations about yourself or the world, blaming themselves for the trauma, negative emotions, being unable to express positive emotions, and feeling detached from others. And at last, alterations in arousal and reactivity associated with the traumatic event such as being reckless, hypervigilant, difficulty sleeping, or problems with concentration. According to the International Classification of Diseases, CPTSD is a diagnosis different from PTSD. It has the same core symptoms of PTSD, but added 3 additional clusters, namely affect dysregulation, negative self-concept, and interpersonal difficulties. Affect dysregulation means they have difficulty managing their emotions such as anger and guilt. Negative self-concept means they experience persistent shame, self-blame, or feelings of worthlessness. Interpersonal difficulties refer to the difficulty trusting others or feeling close to them. We definitely see some of these symptoms occur in Leon. He comes across as hypervigilant by constantly scanning his surroundings, looking for threats, even when he's safe. He could be emotionally numb and uses sarcasm and stoicism to hide exhaustion and loss of joy. He definitely suffers from survivor's guilt. He feels shame and guilt for the people he couldn't save. He carries this weight throughout the entire Resident Evil timeline. Something we see in people who have CPTSD is that they reenact their trauma cycles. A perfect example of this is Steve Rogers from the Marvel Universe. He went through a literal world war, and when he woke up in the modern day, he kept looking for fights and wars to win. Leon does a similar thing. He started working for the US government, the very system that exploited and obscured the Raccoon City disaster. Leon binds himself to the machinery of his trauma. He becomes part of the system that he was so much against, or at least before he made the decision to try and release the information to the public. Although Leon may suffer from complex trauma and functional learned helplessness, it is important to see that he is also very resilient. He is not one to give up easily. He loves deeply and wants to do what is best for everyone. That's what makes him such an amazing character. One aspect I touched upon shortly was survivor's guilt. If you're interested in more on that, I suggest you watch this video next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!